so I want to demonstrate the leash. We use a slip lead. So the way this works is it goes over the head, right at the base of the neck and the head, and it'll tighten. Loose leash is reward, okay? The key to a proper leash walk is loose leash, okay? So you want a loop in your lead, okay? This has a little keeper on it that you slide down to where the dog has a little bit of play. So if you can see here, the little keeper, it slides down, okay? So you have play. You want it just enough so it won't slide over the head. Okay, so we want that keeper tight enough to where it won't slip over his head, okay? But loose enough to where he has play, plenty of slack, okay? And we use a pop and release, okay? So, and they always walk on the left side. But pop and release, correction, and then your affection, okay? Affection is loose leash. Discipline is pop and release, okay? And it shouldn't be a pop like this and hold. I see a lot of people doing that. It's pop, release, arm back down, strict, okay? It's very important. And then when you go to walk, you walk first, okay? And when you go to take off and they're not paying attention, it's pop and release, okay? Same with stop, pop, release, okay? If the dog's doing it on his own, then you do not need to do the pop and release. If they're not paying attention sometimes, hey, pop and release, okay? You want them paying attention to what your movements are. If you get on the leash and they're kind of just not paying real close attention to you, hey, I want your attention. That's really all it takes.
Or a lot of times I'll snap my fingers and, you know, if they try to get a little bit ahead or, yeah, if they're like off, like, you know, looking that way, not watching me, and we're getting ready to stop or something, just do a shh, you know, like kind of loud, and snap my fingers, and I make sure that they can hear it, and then they're like, oh, okay, you know, so that you don't actually have to verbally say something. So
a lot of times too, before you go on your walk, it's just like getting your horse out and working them in the round pen or something like that. That they need to be brushed up before they go on a walk sometimes. So if you just take them and get them really responding to your commands, get him really paying attention, just give him a little corrections, let him know that, hey, I mean boss, I'm boss, and you need to follow what I'm doing. It's sometimes very important that you do that before you go out on a walk and just go out the door. You can do it in your backyard if you have one. Anything works. But it's very important that you are always leading. Don't sit there and wait for your dog to make the movement. It's you, okay? You make the movement, okay? If you stop, and sometimes just doing subtle things, like go, stop, gets them in tune, okay? Okay, they should have an auto sit, and an auto sit comes from repetition. Dogs are creatures of habit, okay? So if you're doing that all the time, it's a habit for them to just stop and sit, okay? So everything that you do with your dog is habit. So if you create a bad habit, they'll continue to do the bad habits. You have to break the cycle, start that new habit. But these guys already have good habits in them, so just continue that throughout your process. And always refer back to this video on what you need to do. But also, if you're just stopping and they're not paying attention, sometimes if you're walking real fast and you go to stop and they're not paying attention, shh. I'll let them know with a shh, little warning, okay? Shh. Let them know you're going to stop.
yeah, and even if you, when you're stopping, or if you are, you know, on a fast walk or whatever, just, you know, do a pop and release and say no, heel, you know. But when you tell your dog something, you need to be assertive about it, because if they still aren't looking you in the eye and, you know, not paying attention to you, then they're not taking you seriously. If they're still doing what they were doing, you know, and you're like, you know, you can't, you know, you really have to like be calm and assertive about it, but mean it, you know, and they go off of your energy, so they'll know if you're weak and you don't mean it. And then they're just gonna be like, whatever.
And what she means by that is if you're just sitting there walking and your energy is super low and you're just kind of like waiting for the dog to make the movements, then they don't know what you want. So they ask you for direction, and if you're not giving it to them, they start taking control and start giving their own direction. Yeah. And that's when you get a misbehaving dog, okay? So always give your dog direction. They want to know what you want them to do.
Yeah, they, dogs are born followers. All dogs, even wolves, like none of the wolves actually want to be, you know, leader of the pack, but somebody has to do it, so somebody has to step up. But if you know, keep in mind that, you know, I mean, a lot of people are like, well, I feel bad, or, you know, they want to sniff this or do that, or, you know, they want to get up on that. And it's like, well, that makes you weak, you know, so don't feel bad for them. I mean, they are very well taken care of. I mean, you're loving them every day, you're feeding them, watering them, giving them a place to live and a bed to lay on. You know, that's good enough. I mean, a dog, like, people overthink it. I mean, a dog, you cannot treat your dog like a human. If you treat your dog like a human, then he'll treat you like a dog. That's how it works. So that's what the problem is nowadays, is that people are humanizing them, and so you're, you know, normally you're only, you know, you're only doing it for yourself when you're overthinking things, you know, so the extra, all the affection, which they don't need, you know, all the time, so that's just for you, not for them.
And the other thing is too, a dog with guidance, he knows what you want, so he can relax, okay?
Yes.
So she knows what, and he knows what we want from them, okay? Right now, they know what we want. So they're able to relax. They're not trying to guess anything. They're not searching for whatever. They know what we want, and so they're doing what we ask. And they can relax this way. I mean, he's falling asleep while he's sitting here. His eyes are drooping, he's falling asleep, okay?
But friends are always followers, and so you have to be the leader. So you need to keep that in mind. You have to stay the pack leader, or he's just gonna, you know, both of them are gonna test you and be, you know, if you keep letting them get away with stuff that they shouldn't, because they're only 6 months old, they're still super young, still have a lot of learning to do, you know, still learning about real life stuff, you know, they're going to be seeing totally different stuff when they leave here. And so, yeah, so, I mean, you have to keep up with it every single day, but they have to have that in their life. And, you know, like they're perfect, they're calm, relaxed, that's how they normally are. And so that means that we are doing our job and that they're happy. You know, the dogs that are super hyper and excited and not listening to a darn thing that their owners are saying, and then they
get anxiety or whatever.
Yeah, they're very anxious and everything like that, and you can tell that they're always, you know, 24/7 just like frustrated, you know, and so that means that owner isn't doing their job, you know. So it goes exercise, discipline, affection in that order. Affection always last. So, I mean,
make them earn their affection.
Yeah, so this is earning affection. Like when they're behaving, you know, they're chilling, they're laying down, you know, they're not trying to jump up on you or anything like that. Tuck likes to shake and show her belly, but, you know, that is when you give affection to a dog. So if you want your dog, you know, if your dog is coming up to you, jumping up on you, barking, and you're like, it's okay, then you're telling them that it's okay to do that bad behavior. So focus on the good manners, on the good behavior. So this is good, and if they were running around like crazy and, you know, hyper and just like, you know, trying to lick me and just getting all crazy, that's not the time to pet. So pet when they're calm and, you know, being good.
If you're petting your dog and it's up here, if you're petting that, you're telling them that's what you want, okay?
Yeah.
If your dog jumps up on you it should always be a forward motion that they, to push them back, okay? The knee out, push them back, and walk forward.
Yeah.
Never back up if they're going to jump on you. Never back up, because what you're doing is you're inviting them into your space. Okay, you're telling them that that's what you want, and it's okay. And that's the same thing with come or anything like that. When you're telling your dog to come, if you're going forward, you're pushing them out of your space, out of your space. If you're backing up, you're allowing them into your space. Okay, it's very important. When you're disciplining your dog, if you just that energy forward is dominant energy can be your correction, okay? And moving forward, towering over, that's what dogs do to dogs. If you watch a dog in a pack or two dogs together and they just met each other and one gets up on top of another, the other one's telling each other, I own you. Okay, you're lower than me, and they stand up and they get real tall. And the other dog, whatever the other dog does, as far as energy, if it's more of a dominant dog, it could be a fight. But if it's a submissive dog, they submit, lift their legs and roll over and submit. That's how they establish dominance. It's the same thing goes with people and dogs. You have to establish dominance. And a lot of it could be body language.
Yeah, and this is, the Bernedoodle breed is already very submissive, very sensitive, so it does not take very much to, discipline them. I mean, just a firm no, snap the fingers, they feel your energy, you do not want them doing that. So it's already, this breed is, very easy to, do that with, so it doesn't take much at all. So.
And then I see a lot of people, a lot of times too, they will avoid their dog's standing somewhere, they want it to go that way, and they're trying to get it to go or whatever. A lot of times, just that body, see how she step back? My body language is telling. So if I told her to go, I just keep walking forward, even if I have to give her a nudge, go. That's owning your space, okay?
Yeah.
If they're in the kitchen or whatever, a lot of people are like, how do I do that? And that's how you do that.
Yeah, just use your energy, body language, that's how they communicate. So I just, let them know. And then the place command, which I'll show you here in a minute, that's also good to use, to say tuck place, Ozzie place. So while you're cooking dinner or, working or whatever it is, or if you don't want them with the kids or whatever while they're playing on the ground, in the living room, tell them to go to their place on the cot, on the dog bed, or whatever it is. And they have to stay on that place until you tell them it's okay to come off of it. So if they do come off of it without permission, you need to take them right back to it. And so that's another thing that I was going to mention is when you do any commands, anything that you're doing with your dog, you have to follow through. So even if, no matter what it is, if it's, the commands that you're working on, or if you're disciplining them for something, if they were chewing on something they shouldn't have, you have to follow through with what you're doing. You can't just be like, oh, well, forget it, because, he just doesn't want to right now, or, he's doing this, and so he's just completely ignoring you. You can't do that, because then they're creatures of habit, so then they'll think, oh, okay, well, I can just keep getting away with that. So if you want them to sit, make them sit, down, place, whatever it is, follow through.
So just place here. So point, place, okay? And place means place. You can say place, and she should stay on place.
You can say stay if you want, but yeah.
And then as time goes on, you can, if it's a bed or whatever, you can say go to your bed or whatever you want to use, you can cycle that back in. Okay. Another thing too is kennel. Same thing. Kennel. Okay. Kennel means kennel. Doesn't mean go in the kennel and come out. Door means nothing, and that's it. If she comes out, no, kennel. And use that body energy, okay? Move forward, no, kennel, okay? It's very important. Come. Good. They should not come out till they're called. Now, I want to show you something real quick. See how she's correcting, or she's being submissive towards me? So more of a submissive dog, the body language is very important. Always pet them underneath the chin. It's very important to do that. Okay? If you pet them down, a more submissive dog, they lower their head and they be more submissive. So more dominant dog, you want to pet on top of the head. So just keep that in mind. Always, a submissive, pet underneath the chin. Okay, pick them up, make them proud. Okay.
Yeah, and then also with the crate, when you come back home and she's been, or even at night, whatever, when you're getting up in the morning or when you come back home and she's been in there for a bit, make sure, and she does tend to get a little excited, when we're coming up to it, because she loves to play and get out. I mean, she's the sweetest little dog, but just make sure that she's sitting and that she's calm and she's not like pawing at the gate. I mean, that is unacceptable. So, calm and assertive, just walk up to it. Don't say anything to her. And always, every time you open that gate, she has to go straight outside, him, her, whatever, straight outside. They have to go to the bathroom first thing. So don't be letting them run around and, have an accident.
Real quick, I'll show you too. If for some reason your dog does not go in the kennel or onto a place or whatever, show them, and do not let them get away with it. Show them kennel, and as soon as they move their feet forward, release. Okay.
Yeah.
If it's a struggle, if for some reason they get out of that, whatever they're wanting to do, they think they can stay out and play or whatever, no, kennel, and show them, make them do it, okay?
Yeah.
And discipline versus affection. You can be disciplining 1 second and give affection the next second. Dogs think in the very moment. So whatever you say no to, at that very second, is what you're disciplining. So if they responded and they did it correctly, they responded to the no, and they stopped doing whatever they were doing, then it can be good immediately after. So it can be no, they did it, good job, good boy. Okay? Very important. They think in the very moment. They don't sit around and think about what they did 5 minutes ago or 30 seconds ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, I want to show you the other commands. Sit, okay, point straight up, and they have a tendency to, do a lot of stuff on their left side on heels, so they'll want to try to scoot to the left side, which this is my right, but he's looking at me, so he's going to want to go to the left. But sit, down, okay, good boy, good, okay, heel, good, okay, heel. You can tap your side, and heel means right here, just like this. I don't know if you guys can see the line, but right here at your heel, their nose should be just barely past you, and so where they can see your eyes, okay?
Basically, his ears should stay right here at your leg.
Yep, right here at your leg, right there, okay?
Yeah.
And when you're walking on leash, should be right there. So sit down.
Good. Yeah, so we just pat our side. And they know what that means. Good. Good. And they have an auto sit, but if she was and even when I say come and they come towards me, so stay.
So
come. Good.
Hand out, stay.
Good. So yeah, stay, you just hold out the palm of your hand and put it in front of their face so that they know stay. And then if they're not sitting, say she didn't sit, so I would just take my hand like this, take my finger go like this and say sit. And then down is just down like you did earlier. So heel. Good. Stay. Yep. Stay. Go ahead. So I'm glad she did that because that was a good correction there. So if she does try to get up, if she gets antsy and tries to get up, say shh, you know.
Or no.
Stay. Yeah. No, stay, whatever. So I like to snap my fingers and shh, you know, stay. Come. Good. Good girl. Good. And then shake. Good. She loves to shake. So this was the leg she had broken earlier on. So she loves to shake with that leg. So, but tuck, go. Come on, go. Good. Good girl. Yep. Good. Down. Good. And when you're praising these guys, just say good girl, or just good, good boy, or yes, you know, like that. When you're telling them to come, you know, you can get down to their level if you need to and say come, you know, clap your hands, always make that exciting and positive. You know, don't get too, you know, watch your voice when you're saying that stuff.
The one thing I will say here is we have two totally different dogs, okay? Mm-hmm. Where she can be a little more high-strung, she's submissive, a little more high-strung. He's more like a stoner dog, kind of like, whatever, bro.
He can get pretty, he's goofy though.
But, so, sometimes you might have to use a little different, depending on their, how their energy is at the time, on how you're using the good boy or good girl, okay? So if it's super low energy and you want them to be a little more excited, use that high, good boy type of thing, good girl. If they're high energy, you can just say good, okay? Mm-hmm. Keep it, calm your energy, you know, wherever you want that dog's energy to be, that's where your energy needs to be, okay? So if you want them to be calm yourself. If you want them to be more excited, bring your excitement up, okay?
Yeah. Another thing I want to touch on real quick is the nose, eyes, ears. Just like we did with Ozzie earlier, so with the food, you know, you put the food down. We do that with all the puppies, and then they have to, you know, before they can take it, it's nose, eyes, ears. So nose up for smell, eyes in our eyes, ears listening. So that's very important, but even, you know, not just with the food, but everyday things, like even if you're out on a walk, or whatever you're doing, it's very important that they are, you know, looking right at you, giving you that respect. Nose, eyes, ears is very important. I mean, that's just complete respect, and everyone needs that from their dog. So just, you know, make sure that you keep working on that, you know, do that with the food every single day. Tuck will even shake when she's laying down, like she just loves it. So she's pretty funny, but they're both, I didn't think he would do it. He either does it or he doesn't.